Back. So now we're going to go into lesson 10, which is grammar. In this lesson, we will learn to make polite requests. So what's a polite request? There's two polite requests we have. We are asking for someone to do us a favor, which is the polite request up here. It is for a favor. Or the other way to make a polite request is to ask for permission. That means we want approval to do something. So those are the two types of polite requests we're going to look at today. So again, favor, permission. So again, these are polite requests, and you sometimes want to use please. So for example, if I were to say, could I come in? I am asking there for, it's a polite request, but I'm asking for permission. I want to know if you will allow me to come in to your house, to your room, to your car, whatever the location is. Another way I can say that is, can I come in? It's the same question. Or we can also ask, may I come in? All of these are polite requests for permission. The only thing that's changing is how we ask. Could, can, or may. All are correct ways to ask. The only difference is how formal do you want to be? And how it goes is can is the most informal way to ask. Can I come in? If you want to be a little more formal, you can say, could I come in? And then the most formal is to say, may I come in? So that's all you're doing. It starts with can, could, or may. And it depends on who you're talking to. If you're going to your friend's house, you would probably say, can I come in? If you're going maybe to your teacher's house, then you probably would ask, could I come in? A little bit more formal, but not super formal. Now, if you're talking to your boss or to someone really important, you might want to be very formal and say, may I come in? So those are the simple ways to ask for permission to do something. And notice those are the only three you can use. If we look at our ways to make polite requests, you can only use can, could, or may. That is it for polite permissions. Okay, and now let's look at polite request. So remember, the polite request is a favor. We want someone else to do something for us. Notice that unlike the permission says could, may I do something, a verb. In the polite request, we say would, will, could, can, you, our verb, and then whatever you're asking. So that's the biggest difference between the polite request, we say could in the middle. If it's permission, we say I. So let's look at a little bit more examples. So for polite request, for a favor, I can ask you, could you open the door? Could you open the door? Simple. I can say also, can you open the door? Or I can change that up and say, would you open the door? I can also say, can you open the door? and I think that's it. Will you open the door is the other one. Will you open the door? And we already know what the rest of it is. All of these are correct ways to start it. Again, all we're doing is how formal do you want to be? So we start off again. Can and will are the least formal. That's if you're talking to a friend, you're talking to someone you don't know, anything. Would and could are a little more formal. So that's the biggest thing to remember. Will and can are informal. Would and could are formal. And so anyway, it's fine. We also have to remember would is the past tense of will, and could is the past tense of can. Now, that doesn't mean that when you're making your polite request, you're asking for the past. No, this is just when we're doing polite requests, it's just informal and formal. Okay, so let's look at our grammar watch really quick. These are always our best friends. Number one, so when we're giving an answer, and we can see our answers right here, notice we do not use the word could in our answer. Could is only on the question. That's it. You do never use it in your answer. And then again, when making a request, may is the more formal than can and could. When you give an answer, you can say no as an answer to the request, but we want to add the sorry just so it sounds more nice. Okay, and we can see, so let's go back. Let's look at our tables. So again, polite request, the favors. Would, will, could, can you please do me a favor? This is our verb. What do you notice about the verb? It does not change. It stays base. So we don't have to change anything on the verb. The will, could, would, can does all the work for us. And then our answers, these are if you want to say yes, we can say sure, of course, no problem, anything you like. Now, when we're asking for permission, notice that we can say can, could, or may I please sit here. Again, our verb stays at the base. We don't have to change it. But notice our subject. When we're asking for permission, we always use the subject of I. When we're asking for a favor, we always use the subject of you, because I want you to do something for me. Here, I'm asking if I can do something. And then we look at our answers. So if it's a yes answer, we can say, yes, you can, sure. Or if it's negative, we say, no, you can't. Or yes, you may, no, you may not. One thing I want you to notice here is that whatever way they ask you, if they ask you with can or could, your response needs to include can or can't. So these have to be included in your answer. We don't use could or couldn't. We just say can or can't. For can or could, doesn't matter. If they ask you with may, then we put in our response may as well. Yes, you may. No, you may not. One more thing I want you to notice here is that, see, for the can't, we made a contraction. Cannot. We just made it can't. May, we didn't say mayn't. That's not a word. This is wrong. We don't contract may not. We leave it like it is. Okay, so now that we have a brief little review of polite requests and favors, polite requests, which are the favors, and polite permissions, which is we want to do something, Let's look at our investigation. So here it says, underline the request. So here it doesn't matter which request you pick. It can be a polite request or which is a favor, or it can be polite permission. Doesn't matter. So let's read the statement. It says, hi, could you tell me when bus 20 leaves? Person B says, sure, it leaves in 10 minutes. Thanks. Could I bring food on the bus? Yes, you can. Okay, so I see a couple of polite requests on there. I see, and always, if you don't know how to find them, look for these words in the beginning of your sentence. Look for would, will, can, could, and may. So I see it right here. Could, can. Could you tell me when bus 20 leaves? Can I bring food on the bus? Those are our two requests that they're asking. Now, which one is a favor and which one is asking for permission? So let's look at our subjects. So we know for favor, it is you. For permission, it is I. So person A says, could you, that's a favor, tell me when bus 20 leaves? Sure, it leaves in 10 minutes. Thanks. Can I bring food on the bus? That's asking for permission. Yes, you can. So basically that's what we have. So we have so your two answers here are going to be, could you tell me when bus 20 leaves? And can I bring food on the bus? Those are our two requests. One is a favor, one is for permission. All right, so now let's look at part B. It says choose. Cross out the incorrect response to each request. All right, so all of these are requests. Person A, they're all a request. Now, we need to know what type of request. Is it a favor or is it permission? And we know that by looking at our subject. So let's look at our subject. So could I, may I, could you, would you? So we already know the yous are all favors. So we know that 3 and 4 are favors because we're asking you to do something for me. And we know that 1 and 5 are permission. We want to be allowed to do something. Okay, so now we need to look at B. Look at our answers, and then we're going to cross out the wrong answer. So number 1 asks, could I look at your bus schedule? We're asking for we're asking for permission. And we want to know if the correct answer is yes, you can, or yes, you could. Remember, look at your grammar. Do not use could in short answers. That tells us what we have to do. So even without knowing what the correct answer is, we already know we're going to get rid of that because you do not use could in your answers. Could I look at your bus schedule? Yes, you can. 3, may I permission, may I please have a transfer ticket? So remember what we said, the same way you ask for permission, we're going to use that in the answer. So we have yes, you would, yes, you may, yes, you would. Yes, you would is wrong. We answer with yes, you may. Number 3, could you switch seats with me? Here we're asking you to do me a favor. And again, could is never in your answer, so we don't even have to read the other answer. We already know that's wrong. We got rid of it. No, you could. Could is never in your answer. We say, if we want to say no, we would say no, you can't, but never no, you could. So that means that our correct answer is no problem. 4, would you please turn off your phone? Again, we're asking someone to do a favor. Just like your word could, we don't say would in the response. So we get rid of that. Our answer is sure. The correct answer is sure. All right, so let's go to the next page. All right, so now this one's a little more difficult, but we're going to go through it anyway. So it's asking, use the words in the box and can, could, may, or would. There may be more than one correct answer. So basically, we're using one of our starters to make a polite. We're only using can, could, may, or would. Then we're going to use one of these verbs in our verb part. So again, your verbs, look at them. Get, give, have, help, put, watch. They are all in the base form. We don't have to change the verb. So let's look at person A. Hi, Bob. Can you watch my things? I'm getting a drink. Bob says, no problem. And he's asking for something. It looks like he wants me, could you, so we know you is asking for a favor, something, a coffee. I'm thinking Bob wants a coffee. So then how are we going to start it? There's only, we can say, for a favor, we can say can, could, or would. Either one is correct. Let's make it easier. So let's say they're being formal because person A asked, can you? So we'll just say it again. Can you? And then what's the verb we use first if you want someone to grab you something? Get. Can you get me a coffee? Person A says, sure, I'll be right back. Person A goes to the coffee place, and there they see the lady at the counter. What's the first thing anyone asks you whenever you go to a restaurant or a McDonald's or a coffee or Starbucks, anywhere? They always ask you, can I help you or may I help you? We want to be a little more fancy, so we're going to say may, but you can also say can. Both are correct. We're going to be more fancy though, so we're going to stick with may. May I help you? Person A says yes. Now, because the counter lady says may, we're going to answer with may too. But let's pretend she did something else. She didn't say may. She said, can I help you? We can answer with can, could, or may. All of these are correct. Now, because of how we're doing our conversation, she told us may, so we're going to stick with may. Yes, may I have is our verb, and a large orange juice and a coffee. The lady at the counter says, here you go. So she gives person A the orange juice and the coffee. Oh, blank you, so we know it's a favor. Also, something, a verb, me a small bag of pretzels and an apple. So he wants more things. So it says, oh, let's be formal since we're staying with could. So remember, if we're asking for a favor, we can use can, would, or could. All of them are correct. So here we can say can, could, or would. But all three are correct. Now we're going to stick with our little formal conversation. So let's say we're going to use would. That's just what we're picking, but they're all correct. Would you also, and he wants something, he wants pretzels and an apple. So we're going to use the verb give. Would you also give me a small bag of pretzels and an apple? The lady at the counter says, okay, anything else? No thanks, but blank you, so it's a favor, And the last verb we have is put, so we know that's going to be put everything in a bag. So here in our favor, again, we can say can, we can say could, we can say would. All are correct. We're going to stick with our little formal conversation. So we're going to say, just like we asked for the small bag and pretzels, we're going to stay with would. No thanks, but would you put everything in a bag for me? There we go. That is our statement. Okay, so now let's move on. Pause it if you need to so that you can write them all down if I went too fast. Now let's move on to part D. So here we're going to rewrite the request using the word in parentheses. So they already gave us. They told us on number 1, they want us to use may, could, can, and can. So we know that 1 and 2 are going to be formal. And 3 and 4 are going to be informal. Now let's see. Are we asking for a favor or are we asking for permission? So let's look at the question. Number 1 says, is it okay to bring food on the bus? We already know if you want to bring something to a bus, it is permission. We want to ask if we can do something. 2 says, please watch my bag. If I'm asking someone to watch my bag, that is a favor. 3, is it okay to smoke on the bus? We're asking if something is okay to do. That means we're asking for permission. And then number 4, is it okay to sit here? Again, we're asking if something is okay to do. We're asking for permission. All right. So now let's rewrite the questions or the request. I'm sorry. They did number 1 for us. Is it okay to bring food on the bus? Permission. And they want us to use may. May I bring food on the bus? Question mark. 2, please watch my luggage. We're asking for a favor. I'm asking someone else to watch something for me. So remember, favors, we use you. So, and we want could, so we're going to say, could you, could you please watch my luggage? Question mark. All right. Pause it so you can write it down. Okay, great. You got it. So now that's number 2. Let's look at number 3. Is it okay to smoke on the bus? So here we're asking for permission and they want us to use can. So we know it's an informal request. So we're going to say can, and remember for permission, we use the subject of I. Can I smoke on the bus? Question mark. That's easy. All right. I'm going to leave that one because it fit in the line. So let's go on to number 4. Is it okay to sit here? And we want to use can. Again, we're asking for permission, so we're going to say can, and permission uses I as subject. Can I, our verb sit here? And that's our question. All right, that is it for lesson 10. Go ahead and go on. I think that's it. Yes, that's all we covered on Wednesday before class. We did the airport reading. We also did the grammar, listening and speaking, and then the polite request. The homework is now live, so you guys can go ahead and finish homework on Unit 5. Let me know if you have any questions. Text me, email me, call me. If you want to, call me at my office. I'm in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Otherwise, text me or email me. See you at the next class.